calls it treat accepting position or something, a treat accepting behavior that he's just, he settles back and waits for you to bring him his treat. The hardest part is when you have kids, because the horse, and let's take a couple steps back. The horses, this is a respect issue, that they respect you and they're going to wait for you to give treats. But each person that interacts with these horses has to, also adopt these rules, or they will, even your horse won't do it to you, but it will do it to somebody else that comes along with a carrot in their hand. So you have to kind of establish that this is a guideline for everyone that interacts with your horse. But the kids have, they have trouble with that. Sometimes they're small or they're excited. And so usually with kids, we give them a feed pan on the ground and we have them toss the cookies into the feed pan. And then the horses stand by the feed pan and they don't interact with the kids so much.
That clears it up. Yeah. for the horse a lot. And there, there's a thought process there that they know there's a pan with food or a treat. But if they earn it, and that's all I say is I want my horse to earn that. So if they do a few moves for me, they're thinking present and future. They know it's there, but they need to respond to me, and then they do, and then they get the reward. So really, I think their thought process becomes greater.
Yes, much, much more. This is the ABCs of animal training, which I also did a presentation for you on, is the antecedent, behavior, and consequence. So the antecedent is you asking for a behavior. The behavior is what they do, and the consequence is either reinforcing, which means they get a treat, and they're more likely, if it's reinforced, they're more likely to do it again. And this is where we build enthusiasm and motivation in horses. Motivation, for me, it takes on a new level. So you could say he's motivated to jump the jump. I point him at the jump, he jumps the jump. But the level of motivation I'm after is the one that says, can we do it again? And they line up at the jump, That's a whole different level that most people that are not using positive reinforcement are missing out on that. They get cooperative horses and gentle horses and willing horses, but this extra level of enthusiasm, I think it really helps to use food as a motivator.
Yeah, I love that extra little piece where they're really actively participating in the process and they are wanting to do whatever the next thing is for you.
Yeah, they're really thinking ahead.
They're really thinking ahead.
Instead of just trying to avoid, for some people, all a horse is ever trying to do is avoid discomfort. I'm not saying that's good. But that's how a lot of people operate with their horse in this way. Yeah. The horse goes, yeah, I want to jump that again. Let's go.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I had a horse as a kid or not as a kid, I was probably late teens, early 20s, but he was a draft cross and was food motivated. We had done some of that with him, some positive reinforcement, but he was one you could point at jumps and tell to go jump and he'd go do it. Well, one time I went to turn him out in a arena and I hadn't established enough clarity in my training, and there were jumps set up at like 5 foot, and he was a warm blood cross, but he had draft in him, and he goes running up to one of these jumps after I turned him on. And he stopped, and then he ended up jumping the jump and actually cleared it, other than taking the top rail. And I was like, oh wow, okay. So it's powerful, but it's also there's also a piece where there's got to be that clarity where the horse is understanding when you actually want the behavior and when not. So the enthusiasm is wonderful, but there's also, and I'm sure you teach that, but there's the boundaries again around.
Well, what we suggest is that you take the attitude of no thanks, but thanks for offering. Right? Because we want to encourage them to be thinking about, so there's a difference between anticipation and assumption. And I think that's where you're lining out here is, I want them to anticipate, be thinking, what's next? Are we going to do this jump? Are we doing that jump? But the assumption would be, I'll take the jump. Was that the one? So we try to shut down the assumptions unless you're in the middle of teaching something and they finally do something for the first time and you hadn't asked for it. This is a gift. So we don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. So usually the kinds of things that they are offering, not usually dangerous. So you can, if you just redirect them and say, no thanks, but thanks for offering, this can be very powerful. And then when you say no thanks, you offer them something to do that they can earn a reinforcer for. It's called a redirection stimulus. So when I say no, it doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you're looking in the wrong place for what you want.